Just off season mode and trying to be productive. Been trying to push out as much content as possible.
Dude, you're doing great with that. Sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. We what I'm trying to do now is put out, if I could put out 2 podcasts a week. If I could do we usually do what the Tuesday, and then if I could do Fridays, that would be perfect. It's tough, but it's like, when else are you gonna have this much time? You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a
What's going
position
on,
where.
guys?
So Stu, so Joe,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like I'm in a position where I can get the work done, so I might as well take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What's new? What's new, Stu?
What's new? I went to a Christmas party last night. Had a little whiskey. My buddy just got engaged. I'd known this guy since I was in like kindergarten. He's getting married, so I almost cried, but I didn't. Fuck that. Not happening.
There's only. What's good, Paul?
What up, guys?
Yeah, I feel like, listen, man, it's okay to cry, but there's only some, certain situations where you're allowed to cry without getting made fun of. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, it's fine to cry, but just know that your boys are gonna make fun of you, of course.
Yeah, as they should.
But when I won USA's, I looked at Paul, and Paul gave me a hug. I hear him fucking like when you feel like somebody and then it made me cry. I'm like, damn it!
That's awesome.
You know what it is? I think the amount of work it takes to get to that point, you can't help but get emotional. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for some people to understand because maybe most people have never did anything that difficult in their lives, right? Most people just kind of most people just do the bare minimum in life. They do the bare minimum at work, and they come home, they do the bare minimum in their relationship. They everything. They go to the gym, they do the bare minimum. Most people are kind of living at the average line where everything is bare minimum. So when you put yourself through something that crazy, man, you can't help but to get emotional at the end. Stu didn't look that emotional though when he won.
No, man, something's wrong upstairs. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Honestly,
maybe if I win enough bodybuilding shows, I'll have meaning in my life. But that's all I got. That's what I'm gonna try.
me watching Stu at USA. Honestly, I feel like in your head, I feel like you just showed up. I don't feel like you had expectations. You kind of just showed up. Yeah, I'm pretty shredded. Let's see what's up. And then you win, and you're like, oh shit, okay, that's cool. That's the vibe I got.
Yeah, well, I mean, having no expectations is good because I hadn't done a show like that before. So I was pretty chilled out. I was pretty high for like most of the couple of weeks before that show as well. So.
when it gets to like maybe like 4 weeks out ish, just I kind of need something to take that edge away. So if I could be high most of the day, it really helps me out. Just because you're kind of miserable, man. You're kind of miserable. So if you can have something to kind of like mellow you out, it definitely helps you get through the day, and help time and all that shit.
I get so lazy though when I smoke, and I was doing it like before I went into work. I wasn't getting high, but I was just like a little bit just to take the edge off, and it just turned into a habit. And I don't like myself like that, man. But
I don't smoke, but I mean, what about the munchies when you get high and you're dieting?
Yeah,
I don't fuck with you.
I don't know. I didn't have an issue with it. I guess maybe it was the strain I was using or something. I don't know a ton about weed, but
as long as I smoke and then eat my meal, I'm fine. I don't think you should eat the meal then smoke though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess in the back, I think it's the same discipline, right? I feel like because most people, hold on, let me admit, I feel like it's the same discipline because I feel like most people have like munchies all day long, right? I think us having the discipline to just say no, it still applies when you have the munchies. So even when you have the munchies, you're like, I would love to have a burger and fries, but I'm not going to do it. And it still makes the food taste better. So let's say if you have like chicken and rice, the chicken and rice tastes better when you're high, right? So it's like you have your own version of the munchies, you know what I'm saying? You have like a protein shake and it tastes like a dessert at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so far gone. What's good, Justin?
What up?
Yeah. Yo, I feel like everybody's been calling you Justin Wyatt, but that's Wyatt isn't your last name, right?
No, that's my middle name.
Okay. Yeah,
It don't matter. I
but
mean, everybody's gonna call me Wyatt anyway.
your audio is a little bit off. It sounds like you're kind of covering the mic or something.
And flip your phone.
Oh yeah, the phone
So
too.
I'm trying to get it to where I can see audio.
Why?
Oh,
We're
just
ugly.
the screen, right?
You don't want
Press
to
the
see us.
screen.
I don't even know how to do it on the phone because I've never used it on the phone.
Yeah, you
Can,
just
can you
press the
see?
screen.
Can you see us all now?
No.
You got to swipe
Every
where
time somebody.
left.
Oh, I see it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I
You
got
got
it.
it. Okay, cool. There you
Yeah.
go. The champ is here, man. Listen, man. I was the only one that had you winning the overall, man. All these guys say, all
I know
these,
everybody was hating. Everybody was
yeah,
hating. It's all
all,
good.
all these guys were
That is
saying,
fake news.
Trevor. Everybody else was saying Trevor got this. I was like, come on, man, you gotta have faith in the super heavies, man. The
You
super
said
heavies always
exactly the same shit to Trevor last week. I swear to God.
I know. I watched it. He's the
Order
instigator.
You
Just
slimy
said I watched
bastard.
it.
I got to instigate. We got two Justins actually.
Yep.
Oh boy.
We can't hear you yet, Compton. I'm gonna call Compton because it's gonna get dodgy with the Justins. Can y'all hear Compton?
I
No,
can't.
can't hear nothing.
It might be on me. Okay, there you go. It's connected. What's up, Justin?
What's up?
Can you can you hear us, Compton?
Now I got you.
Oh,
Yeah, there
perfect.
you go.
Oh, cool.
There you go.
Can you
What
twist
up,
your
Justin?
phone? Can you twist your phone to the side?
Give me
Don't
just
be like. Okay, yeah, but yeah, back to Wyatt. I mean, you want to be called Wyatt or Abbott since we got two Justins.
it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Let's go Wyatt.
All right.
So Wyatt,
Yeah.
how many national shows have you done in total?
3
Okay, so yeah, you did the USA's when Stu won,
nationals before the year before that, and then USA's, and then this
Mm.
nationals.
Oh, wait, were you in that super heavy class at nationals that year?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But I was like 223 when I woke up. I like ate and drank into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wait, you said 223?
Yeah.
Wait, but I thought you were a super. You wasn't a super that year?
Yeah, I was. Like I said, I ate and drank into the weigh-ins.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We were playing the conditioning game.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when you're that shredded, it's kind of irrelevant what weight class you're in because most supers, a lot of supers would be a heavyweight if they got as shredded as you did because that level of conditioning. I don't think people realize how much you have to dig down. You know what I'm saying? That's why Justin Compton's guys come in so shredded because he usually brings them in like lighter. Like most coaches will probably bring them in 10 pounds heavier, but just less conditioned, right? Where Compton brings them in their dog. But let me pull up some pictures. Yeah, but I feel like it was a matter of time because Justin. I mean, Wyatt was always the most shredded guy there. Hold up.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys see?
More big booty girls. It's just Justin, actually.
You guys see Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just gotta be sure, man. All right, let's see. I'm trying to find like an older one from the USA film, but just in general, so you get an idea. He's usually the most shredded guy. I mean, off season, he's leaner than me on stage at this point. Let me see. It's training. I'm gonna just pull up the US the nationals one. Yeah, but I mean, it gives me like I'm trying to think of a bodybuilder to compare you to, but it's that rugged, gnarly kind of muscle that we talking about.
I think it's just based on my training.
Yeah. When most of us see glutes like that, we think it's genetic, and I think usually it is. But I've seen the way you train glutes, and I don't think it's actually a genetic. But yeah,
I think on like a hamstring day, I always do like hip thrusts. So I think it's just something that just happens.
You kind of remind me a little bit of Josh Wade. You remember Josh? Yeah, he was always really, really, really conditioned.
You're actually harder than I think you're a little harder than what Josh got as well.
Though. Yeah,
Josh was like 42, and you're 26, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Hold on, 26?
Motherfucker's 26. I know.
How? Like,
shut up, Stu. How old are you?
Well, yeah, I'm 26 too, but
okay, yeah. But you're a freak. Yeah.
I'm usually the only one who's like looks like he's 36. You know.
how does that even happen? Like, how does somebody get to that point of condition and hardness and size at 26? Like, when did you start training to get to this point at 26?
I mean, I've always played football, so training was always like in middle school and high school, and then I played college ball. But I don't know. I've just always like, even my first show, I've always had shredded glutes. Like, I've never been scared to like push down. I like to I'm kind of neurotic. It's like I like conditioning. It's just like I'm like, you don't show up on stage not in condition. That's just like that's my whole deal.
That's the one thing that you have control of, and you're doing a good job of that too.
Yeah.
And my coach is the same way. He's like, if you're going to get on stage, like, you might as well be peeled. People like to see, like, that's bodybuilding. I feel like conditioning.
It is.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had the overall by Saturday night?
I mean, 100%. I don't think anybody comes to the show to lose, for sure. And then it's just kind of like everybody who is somebody in bodybuilding has had me have an overall. Like all the podcasts, like Dave Palumbo and all them, Chris Aceto, and I just think it's hard to, like I said, it is bodybuilding and conditioning and size. It all matters. I mean, the one shot I definitely probably lost, was probably like the front double or something, because he does have a pretty front double. But like even the back shot, side shots, I don't see him being able to beat me with 50 pounds,
So okay, I feel like like you usually, right? Like, let's say if we go by history, the biggest, hardest guy almost always wins, right? But one thing I think me and Justin were talking about is the way the judging has went this year.
It has swayed. Yeah.
Exactly. So the way the judging has went this year is kind of consistent with how it went this year. Now, every other year in the past, I felt like you probably would have won, but I feel like this year there seemed to be like an emphasis on like structure, structure and shit. I mean, of course, you don't want to hear that shit because you're like, why would it be one way until the year I do it? Unfortunately.
I mean, as far as like the super heavies, I mean, there was no one I don't feel like close, especially conditioning wise, and no one size wise. I was like, I think Drake, I think his name is Drake Sanders, one that got second. I think he was like in the 230s, and I was like 252 on stage. So size wise, still had him beat. And
let me pull that up. Is there like
way?
Where can I see the heavies? Bodybuilding?
Were you at the USA's last year? Like, what did you
right
weigh
at 230?
230. Oh wow, okay. That's
wait.
No joke.
How much did you weigh? How much did you weigh this year?
252 on stage.
How does one put on 30 pounds of muscle in the same condition?
22 pounds. All right, man.
22 pounds. And I just fucking ate. Like, when I tell people I ate, like, people really don't believe it. Like, I even posted today on one of my stories. Somebody was like, how is it eating 5 to 7,000 calories? I was like, that's chump change. Like, I was eating 9,000 to 10,000 calories every single day. Like,
oh shit, he's got me beat on that one.
I felt like I was doing the Justin Compton diet, but it was not like I've heard Compton to where like you'll eat like high carbs, like 1,500 grams of carbs, but you'll kind of drop your protein down. Mine was just consistent. Like my protein and everything was consistent, like 600 grams.
Well, here's how I did that though, man. So the only time when you really saw me, like there was a few stages in my off season. Usually it was the rebound phase where I could get up to like 1,200 grams of carbs a day. But I counted all of my protein. And during those phases, I didn't like really have high days, low days, or if I had cheat meals, I didn't worry about it. But like when I say I would lower things back, so like my highest high carb days was when I got ready for the Orlando Pro. I have no idea why, but my metabolism was just nuts at that show. I was ready to go at 3 weeks out. Keep in mind, I also was prepping for the Arnold Brazil, and I was basically promised to do that show, which was 2 weeks. It's in that time frame. I don't remember the exact time. But I got ready early, and that was the first time I'd ever prepped myself, which worked out beautifully. So, again, I even got ready still earlier than expected. My body was struggling to hang on. So when I would wake up and realize you haven't done any cardio in like 4 fucking days and you're down 7, 8 pounds, 9 pounds, 10 pounds, and you don't look any better at all. You just feel like death. So I would plan my day. Like it would be common to see a 3 to 5 pound fluctuation per day in my prep. Like, and that's why I feel like I was my own coach. I feel like that was the best move, because when you have someone like that, you need to be able to make the change on the spot, on the fly. Like it has to be done now. So I would look at my stuff and I would use an Excel chart. So I'm like, okay, well, today I'm going to have this, this, and this. So I'm looking at my carbs. Like I want to put in 1,800 grams of carbs. And I see when I make those changes with the food, now my protein went from 350 to 475 just from the indirect protein from the massive carb spike, right? So at that point, I would just back off the meat portions to kind of bring that down. So I only really did that when I was in contest prep.
Okay. So here's my question, right? So you both Justins, Abbott and Compton, you guys can eat a ton of food and stay pretty lean. Justin looks Wyatt looks like he's shredded off season, right? So okay, so when that's your body type, you can literally grow as much as you want as long as you can get the food down, right? So okay, now if you have a guy like me, right? If I push the food, let's say over 6,000 calories, I'll start adding fat a lot faster than muscle. So what would I do to continue to be able to eat up the calories without just completely getting sloppy? Without completely getting sloppy, because I do believe I am going to add muscle, but I'm going to add so much body fat that is it going to be worth it for me, or do I just not eat that much food?
I would say not as much food. Try to keep as high as you can, depending on how long you want your off seasons to be. Maybe like if you're doing like, say, you're doing USAs, right?
More than likely. If you tell me, I look ready.
That's a 1 year gap. I think during that 1 year, you could get one, maybe two, but at least 1 6-week phase in there of like a mini cut. Don't go full blown ham trying to get to like a 2 week out conditioning, but scale it back a little bit, because when you're lean, that's when your metabolism, I think, is going to respond the best. Your insulin sensitivity is going to be the best. Your nutrient uptake is going to be the best. So getting yourself into that lean state in a caloric deficit, and then we start slamming the food, I think it's going to do two things. It's going to keep your body fat lower. It's also going to give you like a little mini rebound phase to add more muscle as well. If you're not one of those guys who even with the guys that I work with that have a super fast metabolism, I'll still pull them back a little bit in the off season from time to time as well.
Okay. Yeah,
especially on like a cruise period, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends. So, like in a case like you, like I don't know a whole lot about you, but it sounds like you can eat a lot of food. And if that's the case, I would probably do that during a cruise. But I'd have to keep an eye on your weight, though, man, and like your look, because I would be worried that if I drop your test to 200. And I don't actually. Let's just not even talk about gear. You want to edit that? We can cut that out if you don't want to talk about it. So if I bring your food back and I start seeing a 5 to 6 pound drop that first week, I'm not going to be concerned about it. But when I start seeing like, okay, he's dropping really fast every single week, I'm not doing that, because I'm not trying to basically strip off all the new muscle that you just added, assuming that you're staying lean. And obviously you do stay lean. So if your body's just coming down and it's just fading away, that's not going to be the game plan I'm going to have for you.
Yeah, 100%.
My body was a little different though, man. Like for me, the deeper I got in the off season, my calories actually would go down. like my metabolism, as my body fat went up a little bit, my metabolism slowing down, so I needed less food. So for me, I was able to basically get as low as like 4,000, 4,500 in the off season. Now this is during my cutting phase. And that's when I realized if I go lower than this, I'm going to start sacrificing tissue.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody on the podcast besides me and Joe have to worry about like the fat accumulation. I feel like you guys got some crazy metabolisms. Cause Stu looks like he looks hard, man. And he's pushing, right? That's
Stu always looks good. Yeah.
It's because they abuse drugs. It's because they abuse drugs.
I get fat as fuck.
Yeah. I got
Me too, dude. I don't think I have a fucking crazy metabolism. I think if I eat fat, I look like shit.
Well, I
that's
guess
another thing is I don't eat a lot of bad shit either with my food. Like I might have like when I get deep in the like all season, like I'll have like a Pop-Tart pre and post workout with my meal. But that's in my regimen. Like that's in my diet. But like besides that, I really don't eat bullshit because I mean, if you eat bullshit the next day or your meals after, you don't want to eat them anyway. So like I try to stick to the cleanest food I can. Yeah.
And I guess for Zayd, you never really try to push the weight up because you have to make the light heavies, right? I think I don't know if Brad Rose still coaching or he stopped, but if you work with Compton, I think that would work really well for you because your body is gonna suck all that shit up because you've been like holding your body back for like 3-4 years. So once you really let it go, I think
the Derek Lunsford effect.
Exactly. And Zayd has the frame to hold it. Like Zayd is 5'9", but he also has like a solid frame. He has huge legs, right? So he could put on a lot of real estate on that body, you know what I'm saying? And I think he can handle the food. He's not somebody who's gonna say no to food, you know. But
thank you. That's the plan.
Hold it back for that long, just for the sake of making that class, you'll kind of have a Derek effect. I mean, he went like 4 years, like it was like 4 or 5 years trying to win the 212 title. And I remember telling him, I was like, dude, just win it once. I was like, do not sit here and win that title 10 times. It's like, because you actually have the potential to do well in the open. I didn't at the time. I don't know if I would have said he's going to be the open Mr. Olympia. We all saw that guest posing at Pittsburgh. And I'm like, oh shit, he is going to be Mr. Olympia. But I knew the moment that he decided to go open, his body was going to explode because he'd been holding back for so long. And you could very well be the same situation.
Yeah, I think
thank
so.
you. I hope so, man. That's what I'm going for. It's just I have to be careful, dude. I don't know about the drugs, how far I'm willing to go for that mass. Yes, obviously, I'm a hardcore guy. I want to be the best that I can be. But I'm still debating with myself, where do we draw the line? When this is going to fucking potentially kill you, or am I going to fucking get to my best as a bodybuilder open class? I'm still in that stage where, I want to take gear, but how far can I do want to go?
Zayd, we don't consider consequences on this podcast.
I was like, whatever it takes.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? That's coming from somebody who did 2 grams of tren.
I thought this.
I didn't want to say it.
I was like, is this really fucking happening? Am I fucked up right now?
All of this,
dude, I was 23 years old, man. Like, what would you not do when you're 23? When I was 23, like, there's nothing that you wouldn't try. Honestly,
you know what?
I wouldn't try that shit.
It happened at my early stage. I'm really happy it happened in my early stage.
Yeah. Well,
your body's more resilient.
This might, I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with this, but from what I noticed, right, it seems to be more of your body weight rather than the drugs, because there is men's physique and classic guys and lightweights and middleweights and light heavyweights that do take a lot of drugs, and the blood work are fine. You know what I'm saying? I think being over 300 pounds for 10 years takes a way bigger toll than the gear itself, right? There's guys that, goes West Hollywood, goes Venice in their 70s who are still using gear, and a good amount of it, but they're alive, they're healthy as far as I know. But them just being alive, because they've never been huge guys. They've never been 300-pound guys. They've always been like 220 to 240-ish. So I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I think it's more weight related than the drugs.
Well,
I think the toll it has on your body is more weight related. But I don't think blood work. I don't think blood work has a whole lot to do with your weight. I think that would be more drugs. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Here's the
well,
weight
I
I'm
think what
at.
it
I was
can with
telling
like
Paul.
long term is like think about like a 300-pound fat guy versus a 300-pound muscular guy. The fat guy is going to be a hell of a lot healthier long term than the 300-pound muscular guy because your heart and lungs don't have to pump blood to that all the time. That's definitely a genetic thing, and this is why I always tell people. I've got a friend that does all this for me. I would recommend getting an echo done once a year to check the heart size, check all like your left ventricle specifically. Just have all that looked at, because if you can do it right now in the beginning phases before you start, really getting escalated into your career, you have a base to see, okay, I gained another 10 pounds of muscle and nothing happened internally. I'm good. Or, damn, I put on 10 pounds of muscle, but my ejection fraction went from 67 to 57. And then I gained another 10 pounds. Now you're at 50. It's like, oh shit, you can see that that's trending in the wrong way and you will have time to stop it. But that's the thing though, man, is it's when it comes to like, say, heart genetics, heart conditions, a lot of it is genetic, because I know some people who eat textbook perfect and they have horrible cholesterol, like awful numbers. And I know some people that can literally just eat from a drive-thru every day and have perfect numbers. And again, my buddy that specializes in heart stuff, he tells me all the time, like, it's a genetic thing. Like, your diet does play a role into it. Genetics plays a bigger role. Well, then obviously drugs plays a role. It is what it is. Certain compounds are going to throw that off. But I think getting that echo done is by far the most important thing for anyone who wants to pursue top-level bodybuilding long-term. And even if you guys don't have insurance, I mean, it's not that expensive to just go have one done.
Yeah. My cardiologist is great, man. Like, I literally kept changing doctors until I found the one that fits me. He's super cool, bro. Like, he asked me about my cycles. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a little test, a little EQ. Okay, let's order a CT. What's the other one called?
Angiogram.
Yeah. So he's so cool. He's like
calcium scores, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So he's cool enough to be like, this motherfucker not gonna stop. So fuck it. If he's gonna blast, I'm gonna make sure I got him covered with the test. But that's what you should do, bro. If you have a crackhead, you're not gonna be like, yo, crackhead, go home. You're gonna be like, okay, let's make sure.
Get into that.
You know what I'm saying?
As bodybuilders, like I have learned over my years, like in my younger years, like 22, 23, if I'm open with the doctors, I got a letter one time. It was 2 weeks after my doctor's visit, and all I went in there for was Ambien. I went in for sleep medication. Everybody on here knows I can't fucking sleep. It is what it is. So she saw something on my labs. It was my estrogen, is what it was, because I knew it was a little off. And I'll be honest, I just wanted a script for a Remedex. Well, she saw it was off, and I was honest with her. I said, here's what I'm doing. And she more or less says, I can't help you, but, we'll see you again in 6 months. I guess she rethought that. She sends me a letter and discharges me as a patient. Pretty much says, you're not welcome back here. And when you die, you're not my responsibility. She was covering her own ass, but yet you have someone who, so like my cardiologist friend, one thing about IV drug addicts is they end up with heart valve replacements, because I learned all this from him, because when they have like a dirty needle or some shit, and again, you're high all the time, you don't even know when you have a fucking fever or when you have anything because you're so whacked out of your mind. But that bacteria builds up in there and they have to replace the heart valves. Doctors don't have a problem treating a heroin addict, but yet you see a bodybuilder come in and they throw a fit about it. So, I mean, you have to you have to pick and choose your battle. You have to either go through 10 different doctors till you get the right one who's cool with you, or you just have to, unfortunately, lie to him and be like, yeah, I'm just that much of a freak that I can weigh 300 pounds and this is how I look. Doc, he knows you're lying, but he cannot ethically do anything about that.
So what you're saying is we should do heroin and they'll treat us?
It makes you feel better.
Yeah.
If you
So
can
we do fentanyl on this podcast, right, baby?
Oh yeah, all day fentanyl. That's the best drug invented. No, but I was gonna say. So imagine you're 300 pounds fat, right? Or 350. Fuck it. And you have the doctor, and he's like, "So you still been going to McDonald's? Yeah. Okay, get out. I can't help you." Nobody would say that.
There would be
They're
no
gonna-
medical industry if they did that. They wouldn't have any
Yeah.
customers.
Nope.
Exactly. Or if somebody is 400 pounds obese and they have a heart attack and die, you won't see in the comment section people saying, "Yeah, you should have put down that fucking Whopper." Like nobody's gonna say that. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it's a shame." But let a bodybuilder die in a car accident, and it's like, I bet he was fucking juicing and he got roid rage and he fucking.
He probably fucking fell asleep because he took insulin before he left the gym or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yo, elaborate because actually, I do when I get bored or if I have extra time or something. Sometimes people think I'm upset, like if I bicker back and forth something. I don't get upset about shit online. I actually find it to be quite amusing and entertaining. So it's kind of like, when if somebody takes a poke at me, I may take a poke back, not because I'm actually angry or upset. I want some entertainment value out of it, right? So you guys saw the Southwest thing. Plus size people can get a whole row for free.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you can look it up later. Basically, if you are, I can't remember the term that they used in like it was a weird time. So if your fat roll hangs over and touches the other person, you're allowed to buy 2 tickets or 3 tickets. You purchase them, and then when you get to the gate, they give you the money back on the other 2 that you just bought, and then you get the whole row to yourself because you're fat.
Wow.
Wait,
So,
they actually refund
and that's
you?
the thing. They just started doing that as of like a few days ago. And
Did it work for us?
I'm just poking the fucking bear because I thought to myself, I was like, well, I remember when I was 300 pounds, like I would always choose a window seat. And I still do because I just like the window seat. It makes me feel better. But there were times I would I'm getting in this window seat kind of like this, like covered up because I'm not trying to cause the person beside me. I'm not trying to just like literally lay on top of them, right? So I make a comment on it. And it was like a Fox News station too. So if you find it on Facebook, there's like 100 fucking comments below mine. And I got messages like people's like, you chose to take steroids. And I'm like, you chose to be fucking fat too. You chose to eat that buffet. You chose to do this. So I look at it this way. If you got the money to pay for all that food to get you to 400 plus pounds, then you got the money to buy 2 plane tickets.
Exactly. No,
That's true.
No.
But yeah, my point is like everyone is sympathizing with the obese people. But when I actually, the way I said my comment, I was like, I said it very seriously. Like, hey, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm like a big guy. Like sometimes my arms, my shoulders bump into people. I don't mean to. I wonder if this rule would apply to me. I was actually like pretending that I was serious, like wanting to get a free seat for saying that I'm too big for the airplane or something.
Yeah, dude.
And oh man, people like ripping on me.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But they sympathize with the obese people.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, have everybody seen the Arnold Classic lineup?
It's gonna be fucking dope.
Where can I go and see that? Where's the best place for me to see that right now?
Probably right where you're at.
Bodybuilder. Okay, well, there you go. Boom. Okay. So it's a lot to, I guess there's a lot to unpack in this one. I think this is, I feel like we say it all the time, right? Besides maybe last year, but I think this is a crazy lineup. It's an insane lineup. One thing that stood to me, right? Seeing Nexzilla in there, right next to Andrew Jack, I was like, y'all think Nexzilla could beat Andrew?
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it depends what shape Andrew is in, right? But
that's what I was going to say. It depends on what Andrew shows up, which version of him.
I think if Nexzilla comes in even more conditioned than he was, because he wasn't out of condition, but he wasn't like just nasty. He can beat a lot of these people that are on this page.
Yeah,
absolutely. I had him in top 5.
Yes.
When Andrew comes in peeled, right, or peeled for Andrew, like he did last year, Arnold, he's not that round and full. And Nexzilla, is he going to be round and full? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Andrew actually gets peeled. I don't know if he'll still look that impressive. He hasn't had an off season since he started. So can he actually put on enough tissue to make up for that 10, 15 pounds he has to lose to be like peeled? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that.
Well, I think if he could have brought the look that he had to Texas, I like that look quite a bit that he had in
Yeah.
Texas. I feel like he was full with still not 100% condition, but it was good enough that I became a fan. Like previously, I just wasn't happy with how the guy. It's not that I don't like him as a person. I don't know anything about him. You know, I just thought he was overhyped until I saw that, and I'm like, man, he finally actually put together a good package. And then at the Olympia, it was not the same. You know, I mean, I think he just needs to replicate what he did at Texas, but do it a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. What do you what do you think, Paul? Do you think Negzilla could beat Andrew?
I do. I'm saying what Justin was saying. Me and Joe had this conversation too about him. If he comes with that Texas conditioning with about 5-7 more pounds, I think he'll be all right.
I think
Well, I don't think they put. I want to pause something real quick. I want to rewind because you guys said now they put him right beside Andrew. I don't think they did that as like a comparison thing because this is no offense to Akeem or anything like that, but Akeem is not going to stand toe to toe with Samson. It's just not going to happen. Even though they're side by side in the picture, they're not going to be they're not going to be side by side on stage.
Yeah. And also
conditioning is like the best conditioning Akeem's ever been in is pretty close to the best conditioning Samson's been in. Maybe a little bit softer, but like I don't know. We haven't
not
seen
super far off. Yeah.
Like for some reason, Samson just gets a pass for being soft because he's very impressive. But like I don't think that would have flown a few years ago. Like having no glute lines at all. Like
so is that going back to the overall nationals?
Well,
I don't think he would have beaten Nick if this was 5 years ago. Yeah. But I do still think, I do still think he would have placed well because he has lines in some places, like he has chest lines and like quad feathers sometimes, but from the front, I don't think Nick was peeled, bro. Fucking peeled. I don't think that would have flown maybe 5 years ago. But I think Samson, he did a good job of crossing all the other, filling in all the other blanks as far as size, shape, structure, posing, presentation, that kind of thing. But he isn't peeled. No, he's definitely not peeled.
I think when he won the Arnold this year, he wasn't 100%, but I think that's the best that we've ever seen him.
Yeah, I can agree.
He was better at the Arnold than he was at the Olympia. I still don't think he would have moved up at the Olympia had he brought that. But I think he left the door open at the Olympia that a couple of guys, I'm not saying they should have, but they could have technically knocked him down a place or two. Like, had Nick have not had an injury, Nick could have knocked him down to fourth.
Yeah. So we also got Hadi in the lineup, which I kind of figured Hadi would be there because Jay mentioned that he heard rumors, and Jay seems to know everything like 3 weeks ahead of everybody else. Because James Harden had said Jay called him and said congratulations. He's like, for what? He's like, you're in the Arnold, and he this didn't come out yet, right? So Jay knows shit, right? So Hadi, do you guys? Let's start with Zayd, since Zayd is the biggest Hadi fan. Do you guys think that Hadi can win the Arnold? Now, first, let's say physique wise, can his physique win this Arnold at this point? And then you add in the fact that he walked off stage, and potentially the rumor has it that he gave his medal back to Bob. Now, do you think he can win under those circumstances on top of his physique? Is it?
Yes. At the Arnold Classic, to be honest with you, Mo, I don't think he's doing it. That's why they have the little word pending underneath his picture. That's for first. But if
they have it under all three because of the visa. But you're right, though. I mean, they can't know for sure because I mean, you can't guarantee that they can.
Rubio's from Colombia, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to have no problem at all. And where's Andrew's from? Dubai. Is Andrew in Dubai?
Yeah, Dubai. He won't have an issue.
No.
No. It's really Hadi that's going to have the issue. Yeah. But continue, Zay. My bad.
Yeah, physique-wise, to be honest, like people think I dislike Hadi, and I really don't. I think his physique is awesome. Obviously, he's Mr. Olympia, but I thought that day Derek was better. That's it. And as for the Arnold Classic, it's a toss-up, dude, because at that show, what I know is they prefer bigger structure and shapely guys, you know? So I don't know if he's going to be able to make that top three. And let's just say it was true that he gave his medal away. There's no way he's winning after giving his medal away, you know?
Yeah,
And
he should absolutely stomp this lineup if it was judged the way that they usually judge shows. But you know, all of the other mitigating factors taken into consideration, it's like, sorry, buddy.
that's gonna be a tough one. I mean,
exactly. So it depends what the judges are gonna think is okay to do or not. Maybe they don't think about it that much and they just let it go. You know,
The judges or everyone else who has a say.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I think we all can agree on this. At the Olympia this past year, Hadi was not as hard as we've seen him in the past, right?
No.
No.
Okay, so remember when he was competing in 212, like it was just like literally as hard as this fucking wall.
Yeah.
And if he can bring that trademark conditioning, like really this year was the only year I've really ever seen him slip on conditioning. If he can bring that trademark conditioning, do you think it's possible that they can still overlook that? Because he's going to make Samson look fat on stage. Not that he will or won't be, but Hadi's going to make everybody look fat if he can bring that conditioning.
You talking about like the Toronto conditioning?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or
Yeah,
Vancouver, or whatever.
Vancouver. Yeah. But
I think if he brings that, he just exposes Samson's lack of condition, just like Compton's
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can they justify? Like it's this one. Like if you're gonna beat somebody who has an edge on you, like a political edge, and I'm not saying that Samson has a political edge, but considering Hadi walking off the stage and that pissed a lot of fans off, you know, that gives him a political disadvantage. So I'm just wondering if they can overlook it if he just shows up looking like an actual piece of steel, like he's just carved. Like, can we overlook and can we slide this guy into second or third? Then again, I have seen some crazier shit happen. I mean, Jay Cutler did beat Victor Martinez in 2007. I don't think we got to go too deep into that if you guys remember.
Yeah.
It was like off-season Jay guest posing is what it looked like.
Well, first of all, if Hadi comes in Vancouver and loses, Iran they're gonna go to war with the U.S. at that point. But if you take that out of it, right? My thing is this: when Hadi was coming in that peeled at the Olympia, they were giving him third and fourth. Granted, he was getting here last minute, and he would look better at finals. But still, he was still a lot more peeled than now, and they would tell him come in bigger, and it's like. So he comes in bigger and a little bit not as hard, and then he wins the Olympia. So I feel like Hani's going to be like, well, when I bring him in peeled, he doesn't win. When I bring him in fuller, that's when he wins. Maybe he was too full though this year. So let's be real though. Let's say Brandon won in 2019, right? In 2019, you take that Hadi look. I love Brandon, but Brandon shouldn't beat that. Let's be completely honest. Like we're talking about a Hadi that was shredded to the bone, just as muscular, but even wider than Brandon maybe, right? I mean, better legs. You know, how does he lose to Brandon? And he didn't even get second. He got what, third
or fourth.
Think about that, right? So they're not gonna want to bring that look back that got him fourth against people who weren't. You know, but so they could probably, possibly say that, well, he came in shredded, but he was too small, which I don't believe Hadi was ever too small, personally. But hey, you never know. Like Justin said, sometimes strange shit happens.
Well, what I thought was really weird, when I did the Arnold Hong Kong, Akeem was there. Since he's on the slide up, I'll bring this up. This is my thoughts on this.
Careful, Compton.
Yeah. We're good on this, man. I thought for sure that that show was between me and him. And I thought Akeem has never beaten me as a professional, and I thought I was going to beat him as well at this show. But they actually put him in second callouts.
Damn.
And I actually thought I thought I was like second calls, like, because sometimes like when they're doing the comparison rounds, they'll start with the last call out, and then they'll basically do it in reverse order the way they do prejudging. I was like, wow, I was like, because I didn't think I was at my best in Hong Kong. I thought I was like, damn, did I screw up so bad that I'm like second? I went from like winning shows a week ago, now I'm in second call outs. Did I screw up that much? Because I'm seeing Akeem on the sideline. He is just as confused as I am. And my opinion is they couldn't put me and him side by side because it would probably expose the rest of that lineup. But the thing is, there's only, what do you got, 13 guys, 14 guys, something like that in this?
Yeah,
I don't
4,
think there's
8.
any way in hell that they could put Hadi in a second call out. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to have Samson in a second call out. So they're going to be standing side by side. And I still feel like even if Hadi brings his this year's Olympia conditioning, it's still going to outcondition everyone else in the show. But I would like, if I was Rambod and I was in his corner, I would want to replicate that Vancouver look. That way I can win or lose. You just made everybody else in the whole world look fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I would want to do with him.
Because there's almost like there would be almost no excuse that anybody can say like, well, Hadi wasn't as hard from the back as we've seen him in the past, or what, if he just comes in peeled, I think that would be like an undeniable look. Even if he loses, I think people will be like, I don't know about that one. You know what I'm saying? So I think that would be the best move. Still full though.
The IFBB does have to consider this as well, because you saw how pissed off not just the Iranian crowd, but there was a lot of Americans that was mad that he lost to Derek. I agree with Derek winning, but I'm just saying that, like, I think 100% Hadi just destroys this lineup. So if he can bring 100%, I don't think they can not give it to him. Even after the Olympia, even if he took the medal and swirled it around and threw it out of the crowd, I still don't think that they could not give this to him if he brings that Vancouver look. Listen, now, if he shows up at 99%, nope, they're definitely not giving it to him.
But Justin, then they'll be like, oh, he's too small.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, is like, I think if he can bring that look, I just don't think he's going to look small, though. I mean, I really think Samson will probably outweigh him by 70 pounds. A lot of that's height. I think him you could say he's too short, but I don't think you could say he's too small.
He's never been beaten on the muscularity thing, honestly. Even when he was lighter in the Vancouver show, like, he was still, he was beating guys 30 pounds heavier than him because he was
he looked bigger too.
But like, he looked way more muscular. And that's what should matter.
I think so as well. I think so. We have Justin Rodriguez making his comeback. I don't know if you guys noticed, but me and Justin both grew up in the same neighborhood in the Bronx, and at the time he didn't speak English at all, and he was just like huge. He looked like a strong man. He didn't have one line in his body, just like massive. He had to be like close to 300 pounds. Never competed. I would ask him, do you want to compete? He's like, no, hell no, I don't want to do that shit. And then I think it was maybe a couple years later, I moved to Brooklyn, and then all of a sudden I see him competing, and then he beats Boston Lloyd, right? I'm like, oh wow, I didn't think he could ever get shredded, and he wasn't shredded, but he was lean enough to win. Then he beats Bumstead, right, at the North Americans, I think in the overall, I'm pretty sure he beats Bumstead, gets his pro card, and then he had like a iffy first couple years, then he just took off, and then he kind of had another iffy couple years, right? So let's go to Joe for this one. Do you think picking the Arnold as his comeback show after having a few iffy years is a good move? And how do you think he'll do?
I honestly, I think I don't really care for any of his front shots, and depending on how conditioned he actually comes in, like makes it happen. his side shots can really hurt him too. So he's that kind of guy that I feel like he waits last minute to make things happen, or just kind of makes irrational decisions based on him just wanting to do things. And I don't think it works out for him. So to pick a show this big, I highly doubt it's going to work well for him.
He usually looks really soft at like 2 weeks out, and then sometimes he pulls it together, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He either pulls it together or he doesn't. A lot of times he misses the mark. So,
bro, I got to be honest. Even like 1 week out, he doesn't look how he actually ends up looking on stage. I don't know how the fuck he does it. But 2 weeks out, yeah, he looks like he's 8 weeks out, right? And then he's been shredded on stage, or at least like hard, really hard on stage. I don't know how that's even possible, you know? Like, this is a pretty good look. I mean, he could be even harder, but that's a really good look. You know?
I think it was like,
can we talk about
he was doing pretty well, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was doing very well.
After that, it was it. Like, I think he lost to Ian finally, and then after that, it was done. Like, he hasn't done well since.
What you gonna say, Stu?
Can we talk about the fact that he just like promotes drug companies on his page?
Oh, really?
Like that Aslan Pharma place. Like, I think Akeem does it too.
Shit.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
what?
How do they look at that, man? Like, because he still won shows when he was doing that shit. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember like the Live Well Farms and the other what's the other one? And I was sponsored by them, and I would literally just post it. But I mean, I'm also an amateur, but they had like pro guys. You know, I don't want to say the names now because they probably don't want to be affiliated. But there was a lot of top pros who were.
LWP went under, right?
There was one of those particular top pros that is considered one of the greatest of all time. If you guys know what I'm talking about,
yeah, for sure, yeah.
I think it comes down to, like, in my opinion, if you have the potential to become Mr. Olympia, like, you have the genetics. You have the backing. Just stay away from the whole topic. You know, the internet's going to sit and speculate what you take, where you buy it. Let them talk. But you
don't do it.
Just stay quiet, smile. What was it Sean Roden used to say? Smile and keep
smile and wave, yeah.
Smile and wave. Keep walking. You know, don't engage in that stuff because it's only going to make you look bad. Now, in Justin's case, he's not going to be Mr. Olympia. It's never going to happen. If it does, I'll swallow these words, but I don't think he's ever going to be Mr. Olympia. So if they're willing to put out a good paycheck, go ahead. I'll cash it.
Hey, man, that was the best sponsor I had. I mean, free gear. Who doesn't want free gear? You know? But
these guys are getting free gear and they're getting the paycheck too.
Exactly. I mean, if you're at that level, free gear, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, they're already making good money, especially the guy you were referring to. I mean, that's not something you should do. But before LWP, there was WFN. Remember with what's his name? I forget the guy's name.
Mundo.
Well, Mundo he was his partner, but the other guy that just left jail. What's the guy that he was on RX Muscle for a while when he got out of jail? Richard Rodriguez, the one that went to jail, and he was like having he was doing videos with Johnny Bravo, calling from jail and stuff like that. But basically the story was that Mundo betrayed him, and then I don't want to get into it, but yeah, Mundo was cool with me at the time, but I heard too much shit about him that I couldn't really fuck with him, and then
that's why I wouldn't mess with him either. Because when I started coaching, they wanted me to, like, you know, push their stuff, and I was just thinking, like, man, I could make a lot of money, but like, I don't trust him.
Bro, you want to see something weird? Like, he's been posting like Photoshop pictures of it's not really him. Like, you see that? Like, what the fuck is that? Like
AI animation.
AI, or like this. Look at this. Like, what the fuck is that? Yo, I was looking at that. Bro, honestly, I think maybe he's in jail or something, and somebody's trying to make posts for him. But I saw that a couple times. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Look at this. Like, what the fuck is this? Boy, that's so weird. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But yeah, at one point he was Larry's main sponsor, and you know, they would travel together and the whole nine. You know, I don't know if Larry wants me to say that out loud, but I mean, he was posted. He was
Posted their
posting.
shit. So.
Yeah, he was posting him publicly, so I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, that guy is a different kind of guy. But I heard so much crazy shit about him. I don't want to repeat it because it's all rumors that are probably true, but it's rumors nonetheless.
Look at that. Bodybuilders Without Borders has Ozempic like pinned on their page. Look at that. That middle green thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's so weird. Man.
Well,
That's
for
so
him
weird.
though, he's not competing. So if they're, I mean, he's got a major page.
Sure.
So I feel like in his case, he gets an easy pass. I mean, he can say whatever he wants.
It's
and if they're willing
slimy,
to pay,
you know,
like I can say if somebody's willing to write me $3 grand a month, $4 grand a month, or whatever you want to do, and you want that as like my at the top of my IG page.
Oh yeah,
paychecks coming, let's put a contract. Let's do it.
Fuck it. I mean, do bodybuilders use Ozempic that often? Is that a thing? Like, is it a regular thing?
well, a lot of bodybuilding fans probably do. You know,
Yeah,
if they're like just casual fitness people and they're fat fucks, like
I can see
I
that.
agree.
probably
with
buy
you.
that shit.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very heavily talked about in the industry.
Yeah. Let's go Marcelo DeAngelis. Let's go with Wyatt on this one. He beat Nathan, right? He beat Nathan and he beat some good guys basically. So how do you think that physique translates in this Arnold Classic lineup? You know, like
He probably won't be top 5. He'll probably be up there with Rafael Brando.
So, okay, so who does he beat? Well, I'm assuming he's gonna beat this the BOYZ guy over here.
Yeah, he's gonna smack that ass.
Probably Hollingshead. He's probably gonna beat Hollingshead.
No,
you
I
don't
don't
think
see
so?
him beating Hollingshead. No, Hollingshead had a crazy offseason. I don't know what he discovered or whatever, but he's looking
Milos.
Milos, yep.
Yeah, that is true.
He
He'll
started
probably
taking
beat
real drugs again, like real dosages.
Shaban. He'll beat Shaban.
Akeem.
Yeah, he'll beat Akeem.
Antoine.
Probably De La Rosa too. Antoine Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the people
He'll
that are
be
going
just right out of the top 5.
Yeah, I think so. The only people that are probably going to beat him are not probably that are going to beat him are Hadi, Andrew, Nexzilla, Samson. Right? Who else?
Yeah.
What did my Brandao?
That's what I'm saying. I think it'll be him, Brandao, and Hollingshead in the mix. Like that's the 3 like kind of like together.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Like Brandao, man. I mean, it's tough because he has all the body parts. He comes in pretty good condition, but he's like he checks all the boxes, but nothing stands out, right? He doesn't come out and you're like, holy fuck, oh my god, look, this guy's a freak, or oh, he has the smallest waist on stage or the biggest legs.
It's a size thing, man.
I think so.
I think he's like a Chris Camille of this like generation. Like he just has everything, just doesn't stand out. If it makes sense.
He's not that big either, though. Like muscularity wise, he's not. He's a little taller. It's like I think he's close to 6 foot, right?
He's like my height.
Yeah.
I did see him I saw him at the gym.
But he's only like 240 normally on stage, like high 230s, low 240s.
That's nothing, man. I mean,
yeah, that's not very big. I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna be quite a bit bigger this time, but he gets pretty big in the off season, but on stage, not really.
I think diets.
He switched.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's not with Aceto anymore. He's with Mill Hill.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to be any bigger because think about this. We only have one person in history. Everybody's going to know who this is here in just a second. We really only had one person in history who used to look the same, be very, very similar to every single show consistently for years on end, and then just out of nowhere just explode. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Ronnie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But most guys here, and I can say this about everyone in this single lineup too, you either have guys who progress in size or conditioning or both. They continually get better and better and better and better until their physiques are tapped out, that is, because you can only go so far, right? And that I think Raphael is at that so far point. I don't think his body is going to allow him to get any bigger. And if he shows up heavier, he's just going to show up softer. That's my opinion. I think that this may be the maximum that his genetics are going to take him. It's fucking good. He's got a great physique. It's just not going to be an Arnold Classic winner physique, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah. Because you got to think about it. Like a guy at 6 feet, 6 foot tall. I mean, for you to look big on stage compared to these guys, bro, you got to be so big, bro.
Minimum 250. Minimum.
To be honest, man, at the Arnold level, I don't even know if 250 is gonna cut it. Depending on how you look, I guess. But
I said
I don't
minimum
know.
250. I would prefer 260 to 280.
Yeah. But 250 is barely cut. It's gonna barely cut it for me at the USA's, and we talking about the USA's. I don't know, man. I feel like you got to be ridiculously big. I mean, he does have really good shape, but I don't know if that's gonna matter that much. The shape only matters when you have everything else.
But who also has shape and then weighs 300 pounds too right now? Samson.
Samson's the only one, yeah. So you're not gonna beat somebody like that.
But he's always had this weird kind of. Maybe it was from being with Aceto, but he kind of had a really lean look, but over diuretic as well. His face looks fucking fucked up on stage. He looks like he's about to die. And he obviously Aceto diets guys really hard, but he looked flat when he was at the Olympia last time.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, he looks pretty full leading up into the show. I think even 2 weeks out, he looks crazy full. So, but unfortunately, on stage, he doesn't look that he doesn't look bursting full or or that big,
He's just it's almost like he should be classic, but he's just way, way over the weight limit of classic.
Yeah. Did we cover everybody? Who should we? I guess Samson. I mean, Samson's gonna be top two. I don't think anybody has him outside the top two. What do you gotta think about Samson?
Probably win it.
Yeah, there's a very good chance they'll win it.
I have Samson in second. I have Hadi and Samson.
Yeah, it'll be Hadi and Samson. Sure.
I'm just really. I don't know if Hadi can. Part of me doesn't think Hadi will ever win the Olympia or Arnold again. Just because. You know why.
I think he can win the Arnold, but not the Olympia. Keep in mind, I'm gonna reminisce here. Ty Green, Ty won the Arnold, but do I think he should have won the Olympia? There was one year that I think Phil was a tiny bit off and Kai was on. It was arguable. But the thing is with Kai, I mean, we all know his history. I'm not picking on the guy by any means. It just doesn't look good to the general public. So I think he can win any show outside the Arnold and the Olympia. I think he can win. I think he can win the Arnold, but he's got to embarrass Samson to do it. He's got to straight up embarrass him to do it. And I think it can be done. But winning the Olympia again? No, not happening.
If the Arnold is close, if he's close to Samson, I don't think he wins. But yeah, like you said, I think he has to put it away completely.
Yeah, he's got to shut the door and nail it closed. There can be no excuse, no exceptions.
He got to be like Vancouver, but bigger and fuller, crazy full, peeled out, out the ass.
But Tyler said he has a smaller leg, so they're gonna crucify him again for that.
Yeah, they found one thing. They're just gonna dogpile.
I didn't see the small leg personally. Did anybody know the small leg?
No, I saw Tyler when he done the breakdown. You remember seeing those videos? I agree with probably 75% of what Tyler said, and that's not me. It's just bodybuilding is subjective, right? Doesn't matter if you're the president or the head judge or who you are. It's a subjective sport. We all have an opinion. But when he said that Hadi had one leg bigger than the other one, I'm like, I don't remember this shit. Someone looked at picture after picture after picture. I couldn't find it.
I didn't see it. Yeah, yeah.
I've noticed it on some of the Instagram pictures, like, but not on stage. Yeah,
yeah.
It's not noticeable on stage.
Maybe that's what happened to Wyatt, right? One leg was bigger than the other.
Yeah, I had one messed up.
I'm fucking with you, right? All right,
what do you guys think of Rubiel? Like overall, I personally like he's freaky, right? But like, I don't think he was in shape at all at that show that he got third at. And overall, his like shape and stuff is like, there's some impressive stuff on him, but it's like, it just looks like a lot of meat to me. Like it doesn't look.
He's like the new Rami.
Yeah, I think so.
The only thing I thought that was strange about his physique was most people's quads will come in long before their glutes and hamstrings, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
I thought it was weird that, like, from the back, I mean, could he have been harder? Yes. But I thought, like, his glutes and hams were not too far off, but his quads didn't have the detail that they should have had at that level of conditioning. Like, you look at his upper body, it was pretty hard there. Something was off on the quad area. I can't imagine that Cormier helped him. I can't imagine he told him to do fucking air squats in the back while he was pumping up. But that's kind of what it looked like. It looked like his quads were just inflated. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the guy was dumb and went and done like 30 drop sets of leg extensions the day before and inflamed him. I don't know. I mean, he's still a rookie. But like that's my knock on his physique is like what you're saying is like his something with the detail and the polish. He's got freaky body parts. I mean, he catches your attention. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he got quite a bit harder from the amateur show the day before to the pro show. So he might have been doing fucking an hour Stairmaster for all we know. Like the day before.
There's a lot of factors. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything negatively about this guy because he is such a rookie. Like, what has he been bodybuilding? Like 4 years, something like that total. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Like I said, he brought a decent package. I can't hate on him. I mean, it could be better. Let's just hope that he improves what he needs to improve.
I hope he gets worse because he's doing New York.
What? That's crazy. Does anybody know who his coach actually is?
It's George Farah.
It's not fair, is it?
No, it's not George Farah. He just jumped in last. Chris Cormier said that. Rubiel was getting cramps, and George Farah was like, "Hey, you should do this. Take potassium or whatever he said." And then all of a sudden, he took credit for it basically because he told him how to get rid of the cramps. So he just jumped in and took the credit.
Does he do that with everybody, man?
Yeah, I could say that about a lot of coaches out there that they take a glance at your pictures and they literally give you one line. And all of a sudden, they made your whole career.
I'm thinking of somebody right now.
Don't say it, Stu. My fingers are gonna get tired from editing this.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I just know a few people out there. The bad thing is, like, I actually like them. I just wish they would change their approach.
Yeah. That's how it goes, man.
It's almost like, again, we won't name names, but like, think about when a bodybuilder is at his most vulnerable up here. Mm-hmm. Probably 1-2 days out, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you're 1 or 2 or 3 days out, you're very, very vulnerable about how you look. Even if you're a confident guy, I still think deep down you may question a couple of things. Mm-hmm. And if someone of very highly credible looks at you and says, you're a little off, a little watery, a little this, it's going to really screw with your head, right? I know if I was 1 day out from a show and somebody said, yeah, you could be a little better, I'm packing my bags and going home. But I do know of a couple of coaches that's managed to slide in there at 1 day out and take credit for the whole thing because they got in the guy's head. We'll talk about that later. But
they do the whole hey bud treatment. Everybody knows about the hey bud.
Nah.
Oh yeah, there's that one too. But that's not who I'm referring to.
That's funny.
That's classic.
I think we should get to the questions because that shit takes like another hour and a half usually. But before we get to the questions, I gotta put Wyatt on the spot because I probably got like 20 questions about Wyatt Wyatt's lats. Okay, so
Yeah, let's hear it.
let me pull him up. So I'll see. Okay, so what I feel like I don't want to assume, but I feel like we know what it is because we're bodybuilders. But I feel like the fans, a lot of fans aren't competitors, so they assume random stuff that doesn't sound like it makes sense to me. But I don't know for sure because we haven't talked about it. So I'll let you be the one to answer the question. I think it was this. Oh, it wasn't on your video. I think it was on the who is the best bodybuilder page that they took a screenshot and then a bunch of people started commenting. But
Yeah, the biggest deal is like if you look at lats, how can something that has SEO in it be striated? My lat striate from my rectors all the way up to my armpit, so it doesn't make any sense. And I haven't injected my lat since I got an infection in them since the 2020 20 nationals. So it's just muscle. I mean, people are just retarded.
But you had an infection in your lat?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
What was it the right lat in particular?
Both of them look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
like there's no discrepancy at all. Like literally when I flex my back, you can see it here in a second. They're just talking about how the lat scrunches together right there.
Right there, yeah.
I think what most people are referring to is the right lat over here. But if you had an infection right here, that might be what people are referring to because I feel
no,
like
they're referring to the back shot. They're referring to the back shot.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of somebody putting SEOs in their lats because
Me neither.
I've done it.
Oh, for real?
I know someone has.
I did it like twice, and it was like, this is way too much to shoot in here. I'm not doing this ever again. And I didn't.
Do you feel like it would work for a big body part?
Well, that's the thing. You have to put so much shit in there. It's not worthwhile. You know?
What I was assuming is that it's like that's where he pins gear, right? Because the gear should go somewhere. So anytime I see that, I'm like, well, people use gear. So if I see like a glute or a lat or a shoulder, and people are like SEOs, I'm like, I don't think people put SEOs in their glutes and lats. Like it's usually just like, you know what I mean? It's usually just like, in my head, I'm like, okay, you just pin gear somewhere, and for whatever reason, sometimes it just doesn't clear in time. So that's the first thing I thought. But there was a time where I pinned my shoulders so much that I kind of had like scar tissue on my shoulders for like probably like a few years, and it's just now starting to, because you build more muscle around it, and it's just now starting to look like it's not like you can't really see it. You know what I'm saying? So that more than likely explained it. If you say you did shoot your lats at one point and you had an infection at one point, I think that's what the scar tissue that people are seeing, But
well, it wouldn't be scar tissue. It's just an infection that went away. I didn't have to like get my shit cut open.
Yeah.
It was like a little infection. I just took antibiotics for it and it went away.
Did you ever have like deep tissue work on your lats at all?
I have been getting deep tissue work on my lats, like this whole prep.
Yeah. I think I feel like the deep tissue work would probably like clear, like change the look of it a little bit and kind of make it look more like,
I don't know, man. I think deep tissue work is absolutely amazing, keeping the muscle pliable, keeping things moving, keeping it firing. But like when it comes to scar tissue,
you don't think it helps?
I have. Let me a second to think here. I have 3 places on my body that you can't see it. Couldn't see it then, you can't see it now. But if you're a therapist, you can feel like there's a knot in there. And it's been there for years. It's been there for over a decade. And it will not go away. We've tried grafting. I've got to the point where I was almost in tears on the table with someone pounding on me, and it just won't go away. Like there's just nothing that can be done.
Yeah.
Do you think that can hurt your placings?
Mine's not actually like you can't see mine. It's very deep. Like so I didn't even tell you guys which body part it was in. It's not where people think it is either.
Is it from a shot or is it just like a knot?
It's from just a shot, you know.
Oh, okay.
It was I had some Primo 200 milligram, and I don't know why, but it did not sit well with me. Let's say this: that bottle went to the garbage. Couldn't do it. Like I pinned two, and guess what? Two of those three spots is from that bottle. Like the next day, it just felt like there was a knife in there that I couldn't move the muscle, and it lasted for days. Like it get red, swollen, and then once all the pain dissipated, I was left with a knot behind. I don't know if it encapsulated. I mean, and I've had this conversation behind closed doors with a lot of guys, and they all tell me like, "Yeah, I've got the same issue." People are like, "Oh, feel right here, feel right here." And I'm like, "Shit, yeah, you actually got one too."
That's why you go deep, guys.
What?
2 inch,
like inch deep.
I actually use an inch and a half for my shots.
You're not big enough for that. What
Damn.
the fuck, dude? I don't believe that.
I will.
I did.
I would rather do that than. You're right. I've heard a lot about that, and honestly, that's why I use 1.5 inch.
I did that back in the day because of Boston. Actually, Boston said that I should use that. And one thing I will say is there was no visible scar tissue. Like there would be no like visible swelling. But one time I did my quad with the 1.5 inch needle, and I think I hit a nerve or something. I don't know what fuck happened, and I just felt like a pain shoot up my leg, and I pulled it out, and I was on the floor just rolling around for like a few minutes, and I'd never use a 1.5 again, and I probably never shot my quads again after that one. Not that I don't think quads is a bad place to shoot, but that kind of just traumatizes you, so you don't want to go through that again. You know, that happened to Boston's tricep. Remember? He shot like 1.5.
That like fucked up his lymphatic system, didn't it?
I can't even remember, but it got bad, like bad.
One arm was like 5 inches bigger than the other one. It swelled up like crazy.
Yeah, he shot like I think he hit like his ulnar nerve, right?
That's
in his bicep.
Wild. Yeah, that's wild.
That's like the nerve that like runs through here, right through there. I mean, if you were shooting yourself as much as Boston was, like the chances of that shit eventually happening and getting unlucky is like just higher, you know.
But the only time so Justin won the supers, right, and almost won the overall. So I don't think that affected his placings at all, right? The only time I've seen any kind of scar tissue or pinning or anything of that nature, huh? I think it was Hadi, right? I'm pretty sure Tyler said that, or somebody said, I don't know if it was Tyler, that Hadi didn't win in 2021 or 2022. I forget which year. I don't know, 2021 or 2020 because the shoulders, right? Did I make that up? Or that?
I don't remember.
No. Yeah, I remember.
So somebody said it. Was it Steve or somebody said?
Probably Tyler.
Okay. All right,
were they just kind of pointy? Is that what they were saying? Like his shoulders were like capped a little too much?
Yeah.
Or they're talking about striations.
No, the way
they were calling them triangle delts.
Yeah. And then somebody really, because one of Hadi's old manager got into altercation with Hadi for whatever reason, and then he released a text, which is corny. You can't release private text. That's weird. But he released a private text about Hani, telling Hadi, stop pitting your delts. He's like, hey, stop pitting your delts. You know what I'm saying? But but to be honest, I don't think Hadi was continuously pinning his delts. I think that scar tissue was, like Justin said, I think that scar tissue was just there at that point, right? Yeah, I mean, he's not crazy. He's not gonna just continue pinning fucking scar tissue. Yeah. I don't think he would do that. I think at that point it was just far gone. But
I feel like if you can visibly see the scar tissue, and that's when in order to correct it, you would actually have to grow that muscle more, put more mass on it, basically to hide it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, when people when people see a bodybuilder that doesn't have like striated shoulders or whatnot, like, their side delt's not striated. And they're like, oh, he's got oil in there. I'm like, no, that doesn't mean that at all. I mean, because what are we going to say? Derek doesn't have the most striated chest. Does that mean he's filling his chest full of shit? No. Just because a guy doesn't have like Jay Cutler feathering in his legs doesn't mean that he shot his rectus femoris the whole time and he's putting like SEO in there. Some people just have different body parts that are going to strike, and others it's just not.
Yeah.
Regardless of
I
condition.
would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. But let's go to the questions. I think I want to see Stu's questions. I feel like they're going to be stupid, but
they're pretty stupid. Yeah. Okay.
Let me see if I got some good ones too.
Rate each other's physique on the podcast. We could start doing some roast my physique stuff. Not rate my physique. We'll just be mean.
But my only thing is that I feel like bodybuilders are sensitive, man. I feel like it sounds like a good idea, but when you actually do it,
bro, if they watch this podcast, they know what they're getting into. Come on now.
That would be harsh as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, bodybuilders, they're usually pretty sensitive. I got to be honest. If you say one thing, I know that if you say anything other than you look great, you have great hair, the whole. If you say anything other than completely positive things, even like Jade, if you just say like a critique, oh, I think Derek beat Hadi, people are like, oh, you must hate Hadi. You can't say anything, right? Like any opinion that isn't in somebody's favor means you hate them, and it's like that's not true. You could like Hadi and still think that he lost, right? But that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
It's probably best you put that disclaimer out there before people do get butthurt about it. We're not we don't.
You've been warned.
We're just bodybuilding is subjective. It's critiques.
Exactly. And
I like
Justin
Rodriguez. He's a cool guy.
and also like we bust balls, but we bust each other's balls too. I think we just bust balls. I mean, I feel like that's just how we talk, But it's never supposed to be like malice or anything like that. We like everybody. I mean, I don't have an issue with anybody.
Yeah, dude. It's so fucking annoying when you watch other podcasts where they're like every fucking critique that they throw out there of a professional bodybuilder, they have to couch it in like, well, he's really good, but just gotta pad the fuck out of these poor guys. Like, dude, I mean, if you're a professional bodybuilder, like what it feels like to be critiqued. So yeah, it's like don't be mean about it. Be critical. Like point things out that are accurate. Don't just be mean, right? But like, I mean,
exactly.
Don't spend half your podcast being, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Like, it's fucking annoying. So
yeah.
Well, we got a question from Sid Rye here. Let's just get this one out of the way. He asked about, because Justin was going to be on here, is like thoughts on Justin Abbott's lat lumps. We covered that.
Sid is different, man. Sid is different.
Okay, so Sid hates podcasts, and this is the only one he listens to because of Ken. Because of Ken, I think. But that's good.
All right, let me ask like a serious question. Is growing into a show an actual thing? This is the issue I have with my clients when they tell me I want to get lean, I want to get shredded, but I want to get bigger at the same time. Like all in one, not like one at a time, just all in one, right? So let's start that with who's gonna go first? Let's start with Joe.
I didn't really know much about it other than talk about Kevin Levrone always grew into shows. He didn't really grow into shows, in my opinion. He was already there. He just kind of revamped it, like once he got back on things. But after this last USA's prep, there was a period of time, it was like a month, where I was getting drier and harder, and my weight stayed the same every single week. And I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to make the heavyweight class, because I was just, it's almost like I was getting bigger and leaner at the same time. And I didn't do nothing special. I trained a little differently than my body was used to. And I did put on a little bit of tissue during that prep.
Lucky you, Joe. Lucky you.
Yeah,
let's go.
It happened.
Let's go. Oh, he got up. Let's go, Wyatt.
I think it'd be a very like if you were to get like super lean like 6 weeks out, you could probably push and maybe grow a little bit of tissue into the show, but you have to get really, really lean, almost like a mini rebound. Because there's a lot of times where you can look like really, really good, like 6 weeks post show, if you have a really good rebound. But I think that's about the only time you can do that. Or if you're like a super newbie, like a super newbie, and his first cycle started on prep.
Yeah, you have to be way ahead of schedule to pull that shit off.
Yeah, way ahead.
And you have to start zigzagging your calories up and down and like really be meticulous with stuff.
You know what's funny? I've seen Wyatt around, and we've talked here and there in DMs, but I never really like sat and talked to him. And I always assumed he was like a mean guy, just because he just looks mean, like
you.
Yeah, like no offense, but anytime I would see Justin or even at the show, he had like a mean looking face, right? Because he kind of had the eyebrows kind of. So I just thought he was a mean guy, but hear him talk, he's just like a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like
the first guy to talk to me at the USA's last year. Everyone else was mean mugging backstage in the super class. You know,
that was so fucking. It was so weird. Everybody was acting weird. Like Brandon, we call his ass out. Brandon was acting like stucco, eating his fucking muffins in the corner. I'm like, and now he's cool now. Yeah, but me and Stu were backstage just like smashing Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah,
the motherfucker had a big ass thing of Rice Krispie treats.
I had like a bunch of Snickers bars too that I was like handing out to people before finals. I was like, I need to get rid of these. I have a show next weekend.
No, you're right. Same with Brandon. I looked around, I'm like, all these motherfuckers look mean as hell. I don't want to talk to nobody. I saw Brandon walking around, I'm like, he looked mean as hell. I seen Justin, I'm like, nah, man, they I don't want to talk to nobody. So I just laid down and didn't say one. I didn't say one word.
Yeah, me, Trey, and Justin were just like hidden over by the corner, like by the door, just mind our business. You know.
I think I started talking only when Stu started offering. Well, it was Justin. It might have been both of y'all started offering like candy and shit and treats to us, and I was like, oh,
that was Stu's ass because he was smashing. He had Rice Krispie treats and jam just fucking slathered on top of them. He had the squeezable
Tupperware. Yeah, I had the squeeze can. That shit's clutch, dude. You need that. Yeah, your life.
All right. What was the question? Going to the show. Let's go. I want to save Compton for last. I feel like he might have a lot of experience with that. Let's go, Paul.
Going into a show, I mean, I guess it boils down to the whole surplus thing. You know what I mean? If you're in a surplus, you're gonna grow, right? And if you're not, and you're in a deficit, you're not gonna grow.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think you can necessarily grow into a show. You know,
it's like there's a time and a place for it. If maybe like you're new to gear, or maybe like Wyatt said. Maybe you went down too quick and had like a refeed, whatever the case is. You have any experience with that, Zaid?
Honestly, no, not yet. But obviously, these guys, all of them, have very good, like 8.5 out of 10 genetics and higher. So,
I think so.
And for the guy who's asking the question, 9 out of 10, this is not true. But for the 1%, that it is true. You don't need to ask that question because you'll see yourself growing into the show. You see what I mean? But yes, it has to be. It's determined by your conditioning. Like Stu said, you have to be like over dieted so much, and then come up with your calories to go compete, and then you probably be a little bit bigger. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't be trying to do it. You shouldn't be going into a prep like, let me try to add tissue in this show, you know.
You can never
but if it
count on that happening, it's like you're just going to be fat on stage, or
honestly, this happened to me, dude. I was a little bit over dieted, I feel, for the show, and then a week later, I was in a very good spot at 226, 228. My body was looking really, really good. Combo between conditioning and fullness. You know. Yeah.
But
I think this happened to me, but I was not competing. You know.
Yeah, but it's also because you're not like a true light heavy. You're actually like a heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? So like the truth is that you probably could have competed. Not probably. You definitely could have competed at 225. You know, you probably could have maxed out the heavyweight class. You know, at that point. You know, but
next time, yep,
yeah. All right, who didn't answer besides Compton? Did you answer, Stu?
Kind of. I mean, the takeaway here is like just be big and not too fat in your off season, and don't plan on growing into a show because like it's probably not going to happen, and you'll probably show up fat if you try to pull it off. So
Exactly.
When in doubt, push flatter, push harder, get in shape. Don't do anything stupid to try and be Kevin Levrone. Kevin Levrone was also being coached by John O'Regan back in the day. So, they weren't meek with their dosages.
Yeah. Oh shit! It's funny you said that. I did go into my I think that was my second show or first show. I grew into my second show when I was with John Reagan. The only issue with that, I still wasn't in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, but he kind of because he kind of got me.
Actually, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if John O'Regan directly coached Levrone, but like
helped him basically. He kind of helped him.
Yeah, I think O'Regan was like he knew what Levrone was doing back in the day, and it was a lot of shit. Like because he did pick it up 6 months out from the Olympia to like go and do the show, and he looked like crap, and then he.
Well, when it comes to Kevin, also, when you stop training off season, are you growing into the show, or are you just gaining the muscle that you lost because you were on tour, singing, So it's kind of because he would turn into like a country music star, So or like rock, he would do like soft rock or like country music. So when you're touring around and not working out, if you start working out and taking drugs, you're probably gonna gain muscle while you're dieting, So
I've been listening to a lot of Creed recently.
I like Creed. Yeah,
I like Creed a lot. Underappreciated.
I might try to post the Creed, but let's go Compton.
I'm gonna go. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what a lot of you guys said, but the biggest take here is what Stu says: like, have a fucking good off season, so you don't even have to worry about growing into the show. Add the muscle there, because 99% of the population is not going to have the genetics to be in a caloric deficit and gain muscle tissue. But when you do see it happen, and I have seen it before on people, and I'm going to use a very big name as an example here. There's a lot of factors that can go into it, and it's not factors that I'm going to promote as well. So if you have someone who, you remember the year that Sean Roden won the Olympia in 2018? Yeah. He done that guest posing, and he looked like total just, let's just say, I always respected Sean, but he looked like shit at that guest posing. He did not look like a professional bodybuilder. He looked like a guy who couldn't win a local competition. But, a lot of these guys out here that's all about drugs, cool, whatever. Keep your opinions. It doesn't matter to me. But Sean would come off, completely fucking off. Nothing.
Looked like it at all. He definitely looked like it as well,
Yeah, and it did. So when you have guys who, and same with Levrone, like I wholeheartedly think that Kevin stopped eating, stopped training, stopped taking shit. So are they actually growing into the show, or are they just putting the tissue back on that, like what you mentioned? So you have the select few guys like that, but then you talk about actually to put on new muscle going into a show. I think in order to do that, you'd have to be off for a very extended period of time and start back up. You're probably going to have to use dosages that you probably shouldn't use in order to do that. Or the other options is you're just a flat out rookie. You've been working out for 6 months. You start a big cycle and decide to do a show, and a few months later, you might grow some muscle there. Or you could be like, Boston did back in the day. Remember whenever he put on 20 pounds in 6 months, but he posted his cycles 13 grams or some shit like that. It was retarded amounts. If you want to go that route, again, I'm not going to condone any of that, but for the average, honestly, 99% of the population, even if they took that, still will not put on 20 pounds of muscle in a caloric deficit. So my suggestion is have a good, successful off season. Don't get sloppy and fat, and the muscle will be there on stage when you're ready for it. The thing about getting fat is when people get too fat, they have to diet so hard that they actually sometimes show up smaller than they were the previous year. So you guys remember this guy? He was a huge name. Like he was the talk of the town. Trey Brewer.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's the
yeah.
man. Barely legal freak. Remember? Barely legal
Yeah,
freak.
yeah. So Trey, I don't know who coached him, but they needed to be slapped in the face for doing this. Like, man, he had stretch marks like up here, like into his abdomen. If you got bicep stretch marks, to me, that's like battle scars, man. That's great, fine, whatever. You know, you're going to get them on your pecs, your front delts, maybe your lats. But when you got belly stretch marks and you weren't really a fat guy to begin with, then you just had a horrible off season, you fucked up. But the fact that he got so fat and had to diet so hard that I remember when he made a splash, the guy was like 265 at like 20 years old or something like that. And the next time he competed, he was like 255 and he was softer. He was like 10 pounds lighter and he got softer. His body just had to push so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, he looked good on stage though, but I mean that off season is crazy. He had crazy potential.
Thought this guy was going to be the next big thing, and honestly, I did too. But like, I don't know what happened to him, but clearly something didn't work out so well.
Yeah, he disappeared, right? And then I remember he like popped up in some YouTube video years later. He was all face tatted up. I think he had like a kid or something. I think he's
got face tats now.
Oh yeah, he's took a different path.
No. Hang on. You're thinking about Cody Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Cody's got a lot of tattoos. Yeah. Cody just, I think with Cody, man, he was also an Oregon guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Noticing a pattern here.
Cody could have done a lot with the sport. Like he got, I think when he did team nationals, he was robbed. I mean, him and Larry, what was that kid's name? Morrison. No, Larry Morrison. He was the middleweight at team nationals, and Cody was the heavyweight, and they gave the overall to the light heavy that year, and the kid was out of shape. That kid's actually a pro now. But at 19, he was sponsored with Gaspari. He was all like, it was almost like they were pushing him to win before he got there. But regardless, back to Cody. I thought Cody had a lot of potential. He just didn't really stay with it that long. Like 22, he was 21, 22, he was done. Could have been financial. He could have just gotten burnt out, like tired of the lifestyle because he started so young. Because he was competing at like 15, 16 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so
maybe he just wanted to enjoy his younger years and go out and party and have some fun. I mean, I'm not hating on the guy for that. Do what makes you happy. But like Cody actually had potential. But yeah, he's got some face tattoos and he doesn't look the way that if he walked in this house right now, I wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said. I think you should only. I know people kind of like get on people. Like let's say Ian when he retired, right? You should do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, if bodybuilding is making you miserable and you hate it, fuck it. Like don't do it. Don't do it. And Ian, he wasn't feeling it, so I don't have any issue with that. I don't think nobody should continue to do something just because everybody else thinks you should do it. But what about you? You know what I'm saying? Leave it for the people who love it. If you can't stand it, just
that's very valid, man. It's like whenever like talk about couples for a second, when someone it's almost like you're getting pressured by a significant other to compete. If your heart's not there to do it, you ain't gonna last very long. So just don't do it. You have to really like the words motivation. I have people ask me, I get this question often. How do you stay motivated? Dude, I don't know. I want to fucking go to the gym. Like, I don't need to watch a motivational video. I want to do it. So you either want it or you don't. Like, if you don't want to go to the gym, hey, man, we can still be best friends. Don't go to the gym. I don't care. Like, doesn't make you less of a human being, but, like, do what you want to do. I feel like the guys who force themselves to do it or feel like they do it for their partner or they do it for the money, if you do it for anything other than the love of the sport, you're not going to last long.
Hell no.
You definitely shouldn't do it.
It's too fucking hard to do it for any other motivation.
Who are some of the first bodybuilders or let's say who is the first bodybuilder you saw in person that overly impressed you? Let's go. I want to go. Let's go, Zayd.
First bodybuilder that, like physically I've seen.
Hey guys, my therapist is here for deep tissue.
All right, but yeah, no worries, Justin.
Go work
All
on
right,
those
I'll
last,
later.
Justin. Everyone's
Hey,
talking
that's what I'm
about
doing. I'll get the labs done. All right, see y'all later.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks.
See you, Justin.
Peace out, brother.
He was a good sport. He was a good sport.
Yeah, he'll learn to have thicker skin and just like
For
put
sure.
up with this dumb shit that he's gonna hear. Be a lot of it.
And at this podcast, we're gonna bust your balls always. We have to. All right. Yeah, who's the first bodybuilder you saw in person that impressed you, Zayd?
Shit. Who was it? I need a minute to think, bro. I really do.
No worries. Let's go, Stu. Since Stu is next on my thing.
The first pro I ever saw in person was actually Rolly. In
Damn.
2021. Yeah, the show I did up in Washington, the Emerald Cup, like I did that a couple times. They always had really good guest posers there. The first year they actually had Dallas McCarver in
Damn.
2017,
Okay.
which was sick. But I was competing. I didn't actually see the guy on stage. But we got to hang out with Rolly a little bit backstage, and dude, like his fucking arm was the size of my leg. It was so crazy. I'd never seen anything like that in real life. And that was a real eye opener about that.
I'll vouch his arms are fucking stupid.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I did my pro debut with him. It kind of made me a little sick to my stomach to see it. Felt like I was not doing my job anymore when I saw them.
I saw Rolly at the New York Pro when Dexter beat him and he got second. I don't know what year that is. What is that? 2016 maybe? What year would that be?
16 through 18, somewhere in that range.
One of those years. And I seen Rolly was like in a what do you call it? like a sweatsuit, like sweatpants and a hoodie. And he was so huge. I was like, there's no way he's in shape. You can't be in shape. Like, he looks like he's obese, you know what I'm saying? But you look at his jaw, he had that huge jaw, and his jaw was shredded. And you see him
you can see fibers popping in his face.
He was chewing his gum, and you see the fucking shredded fibers. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I swear his jaw was this big. And it's like, what the fuck am I looking at? His hands were fucking swollen as hell. I'm like, this is a different level of muscularity, you know? And then Dexter beat him. Everybody was like, you're crazy, but I know why Dexter beat him. Because standing there, like, before he hits the poses, he looked like he was 6 weeks out. Like, there was not one line in his body. But once he would hit that shit like that, all the shit would pop out. Whereas Dexter, just standing there and moving around, everything is just already there, right? So it's not necessarily that. It's like he's shredded everywhere, but also all of the time. Whereas Rolly only looks shredded or only looks in shape when he's perfectly hitting the poses. The moment he breathes, the moment he relaxes, everything just gets soft. So it's like, was he in shape? So if you watch pictures, you'll be like, wait, Rolly was shredded. And it's like, in pictures, he looked more shredded, but in person, not as shredded, Granted, they were all...
a wow factor, man. When he comes out of his clothes, like, if you see Dexter in a sweatsuit, like, I can tell you, like, when I was an amateur, if you put Dexter in the room, and let's assume I don't know who he is, I'd be like, yeah, I'll beat that guy. He's not very big. He comes out of the suit, it's different.
Different ball
He's just his own. He has, like, his own, I don't even know how to say it. Not like persona, but persona was a physique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hush, buddy.
Tonio's the same way. Tonio don't look big at all.
I was just about to say that. I was gonna say, yeah, Tonio had that same effect, But there's so much going on
with my dogs, guys. You guys keep going.
Oh no, you're good. All right, let's go, Joe. Who was the first bodybuilder you saw in person? I got you.
Well, I went to the Fit Expo the first time. Rich Piana was there. I saw Rich Piana.
Oh shit!
He was fucking huge.
I don't think I've ever seen him in person.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet him, but I was literally like able to see like right there, like this big.
Okay. How about pro bodybuilder?
Pro?
Who was the first pro you seen?
The very first pro I ever saw in person was actually Sean Roden the year following his win. So like he was Mr. Olympia when I met him.
Okay. But he didn't look that big
so
off
it was
season,
Sean
bro.
Roden, right? So it wasn't like I took a picture of Mr. Olympia, but he didn't look like Mr. Olympia, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
so it wasn't like impressive to me. The title was like, oh shit, but the look wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. Yeah, he's somebody who he would look better the closer he got to the show.
Like I
every
was
week he
when
would
I
look
when I
better.
went into Fit Nation, Paul was the most impressive person I saw after Rich. Because in person, Paul was 283 pounds of abs.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. That was the because we're talking about in person. Obviously you see things online, but in person, I've never really seen too many.
Yeah. Most like you can't in person and videos is incomparable, incomparable. Like I was at Fit Nation last week, and the way you guys look in person, even though I see you guys semi-regularly, but every time I see you, it's like you guys double in size. So what I think I'm looking at and then what I see in person, it's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for people to understand how some of these top guys look. It's so ridiculous that most people couldn't even understand what that looks like, you know?
Yeah, when Beatty saw me, Stu, he was like, hey, you're not that fat.
No, like he looked softer. He looks softer in videos, you know. He literally looks softer in videos. So you see him in person, you're like,
it's the same as well. Like when I was out there with you guys, like I never thought your check-ins looked fat. I thought they looked great, but then I saw you in person. Like he's kind of got like back veins still.
Yeah.
Like there's like veins in the back, like his lats and traps and rhomboids. I'm like, damn, it's actually a lot different in person.
Way different. Yeah, you can't compare it. How about Paul? Who's the first bodybuilder you've seen?
The first one was probably like 2015 or 16. Fit Nation when Dexter was training there before the Olympia.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Dexter kind of Dexter was one that I seen. Yeah, his first one.
For me, there was a couple. The first pro I've ever seen was, you guys who know who Ken Jones is, like a old school bodybuilder, really short guy. No, probably not.
I don't think it rings a bell to me.
He was like 5'1" maybe, and he was impressive, but I wasn't blown away. I was impressed. I was like, holy fuck, you know. But the first one, the next bodybuilder I saw after that was Victor Martinez at Steel Gym, and this was maybe right after, let's say after 2010 high school, so maybe 2012, maybe somewhere from 2011 to 2013, you know. And Victor looked insane. You know, he was in a t-shirt, but I felt like I could see everything through the t-shirt. You know, I could see separation all over his forearms. I could make everything out from the t-shirt alone, you know. And the width on him was so ridiculous. And at that time, you know, you're like, 19, 20, and you think you're big, and you see that, and it makes you not want to bodybuild. You're like, there's no way, then you're like, I can't look like that. There's no way. And I felt small for like a whole month after that. I'm like, there's no way I could get to that point. It's not possible, you know. So the first time I saw a pro bodybuilder, I kind of convinced myself like I could never be pro because I could never look like that. But you just go through the steps, and then hopefully eventually, you get there.
Yeah. I remembered who it was. It's actually a really nice story. 2012. It was shortly after I moved to the US, and I had no fucking friends, bro. I went to the first Olympia on my own. I drove from LA to Vegas. I slept in my car in the Bellagio parking lot, and I went in there, did the expo for a whole day, and then at the very end of the day, after prejudging, I met Iris Kyle. And when I seen her, she had her her suit on, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And we had a conversation, and we had a long conversation, and then Johnny Jackson came in, and he was wearing a tank top, and his fucking traps, bro,
like traps are crazy,
fucking big. It was
crazy.
crazy. Yeah. So these two were my first ever look at a professional bodybuilders. And probably the best, you know. I did notice Johnny is very short. He's not a tall man at all. So
He's
I
not.
didn't
He's not.
know in the magazines they make him look so tall, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
dude, that was one day to remember for sure.
Johnny's traps, chest, and back is probably so. I mean, even shoulders. It's just that whole upper shelf is fucking stupid. It still is. I mean,
His
he's been
upper
retired for.
body is Mr. Olympia all day.
It's literally insane. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How about you, Compton? Who was the most? Okay, first of all, who was the first bodybuilder you saw that impressed you, and then who was the most impressive bodybuilder you've ever saw in person ever?
So Tricky Jackson was not the guy I'm referring to, but Tricky used to host a show. Do you guys know who that is by any chance?
Yeah, yeah, the one that used to like dance and do stuff on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Tricky hosted a show like 20, 25 minutes from where I grew up at. And I think his show was the first show that I ever went to. So he would always have guest posers there. And I remember he had two people very specifically. One was Victor, the other was Dexter. So I had a chance to watch them on stage. Obviously, freaky impressive. No, I mean, neither one of them was out of shape either. Because keep in mind, this was around the September, October time frame, which was also when the Olympia was back then. So these guys were still in pretty tip-top shape. Now, if I saw them when I was in the audience, they were on stage. Yeah, I was impressed, but it's a different, and you all know too. When you get a chance to see someone, when you're within like 5 feet of them, that's a different level of impressiveness when you see someone for the first time up close. Not talking about 50 or 100 feet away on stage with lights. You get to actually see it live. I was competing as a teenager at 2007 Kentucky Muscle, and they had David Henry as the guest poser. And at the time, there was no 202, there was no 212. And David was 10th in the world at like 200 pounds. So, I mean, he's a short guy, but his frame was just maxed out with muscle everywhere. Like I had just up close. I mean, I was close enough to the guy I could have reached out and touched him. I didn't bother him because I knew he was there for business. And you could tell he was laser focused in. He basically did his guest posing and he kind of got the hell out of Dodge. I understand why. But seeing him like up close in person, that was the first. And I'm not saying he's better because he's not better. He's not better than Victor or Dexter, but I had a chance to see him like 5 feet from me. And my jaw just dropped. And I thought kind of like what you did. I was like, I'll never have that kind of muscle, ever. No matter what I do, no matter how many years, decades, no matter what the fuck I do, I'll never look like that.
You turned out better.
Do what?
You turned out better than him.
I was a bigger guy, yeah, but I think like pound per square inch. David was probably one of the most filled out frames ever. He was the original 202 Mr. Olympia, if you remember.
He was.
And then after that, they gave it to Kevin English, and I completely disagreed with that decision. But
Justin, not to cut you off, but one of my shows, maybe my first show ever, David Henry guest posed with Dennis Wolf, and I was more impressed by David Henry than Dennis Wolf.
Yeah,
they were both huge, but the amount of muscle he had on his frame was insane. And
small frame, a lot of muscle. It's bubbly and round too.
It's crazy. And I know I think he got critique for his legs not being big enough, but seeing him in person, everything looked big enough. Like everything was big.
Yeah.
You know,
as far as like the most impressive person I've seen ever, not first time, but ever in person, is this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. You know, I'm backstage at the Olympia in 2016. Phil stayed covered up the whole time until about 10 minutes before stage. And I'm obviously, you know, like Phil was kind of like an idol. He was the guy that I watched growing up, you know, when I was competing as a teenager. My eyes were always on him. And I'm literally sitting here, I'm eyeballing him like, take the jumpsuit off. I know I'm not beating you, but I want to see what you got. And as soon as he took it off, I was like, fucking shit. Like it was Phil's picture is not like Phil Heath in person. It's not close. His pictures, yeah, they're 10 out of 10. But seeing him walk around in person, just in his posing suit, while he's like just pumping up with bands, it's almost like a since we talk about whatever on this podcast. Imagine if you ate about 6 to 8 grams of mushrooms, and all of a sudden you have like a hallucination of a bodybuilder. That was Phil. It was like a fucking imaginary. Like, how is this even real?
Cartoon character, man. I mean, listen. I mean, he didn't get enough respect just because at the time social media was kind of new and everybody just was talking shit, and he became the villain because of Generation Iron. He kind of got a short end of the stick. But Phil, I mean, to me, I personally think that was the greatest physique on stage. Personally, I still feel like 2011, 2013 can beat anybody in history.
I think everybody. 2010 also has to, even though he didn't win in 2010, I think he should have won it in 2010 as well. When he walked out in 2010, it was like it looked like a plastic mold.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just hard to describe. Insane. I don't know how to say it. Like, it was so full, round, bubbly, but when he would start flexing, he had the grainy detail as well. Like, he had every tool that he needed.
Yeah.
Like, I had him winning that year. You know, I was a Jay fan. I liked what Jay did in 2009, but I had Phil winning in 2010.
Yeah. Me too, actually. All right.
2011, obviously, freaky as hell. But 2010, 2011, that was my... I didn't get a chance to see it live and in person, but as far as videos goes, that and I'm going to go on a limb and say everybody from like that 1999 British Grand Prix. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Everybody there. I don't know if there was just the lighting was that good or just everybody was on.
I think it was both. I think the lighting was perfect.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know if the promoter, like when he gave everybody their tickets, like, take this pill, you take this pill, you take this pill. I don't know if it was like a special diuretic he gave people, but like Marcus was nuts. Everyone talks about the Flex Wheeler from like that show, and don't get me wrong, his routine was the routine. Flex never was that great of an entertainer as he got bigger. I didn't think so, but his physique was absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But then everybody's like, "Oh, Flex should have won." I'm like, well, you say that when you look at him alone, but then when you see Ronnie beside of him, it's like Flex kind of just disappeared.
The graininess too. The graininess. All right.
Yeah, Ronnie was on there. Marcus was on. Like, I don't remember anybody being off at that show. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know why that show was so fucking good, but like that was probably the best bodybuilding show of all time, in my opinion.
I can see that.
If I were to go back and say, if I had to buy one DVD of any bodybuilding show to motivate, impress, to show people, it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the DVD. Oh,
it's like a CD player with video on it.
It's a
basically.
CD. Fucking with you, dude.
That's a good one.
Remember the old MP3 players?
Sorry.
Huh?
You remember the old MP3 players?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think Stu does. I don't think Stu had one of those.
I actually had like some generic brand touchscreen MP3 player in middle school, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
All the other kids had iPhones, and I had this thing. I was like, "Shit, bro."
All right, let's do one more because I got to use the bathroom.
You got a good one? I got a good one.
You got a shower on this one?
Huh?
Yeah.
I do actually. Yeah, I'm gonna take a shower with this one too. I think this is a good one. What's the highest and the lowest calories you've ever had? I guess he meant. And which was harder, the highest one, the lowest one? Let's kick it off with Joe.
The highest
and lowest. Mm-hmm.
The highest is like a little over 7,000, and then the lowest a little under. When I did my very first show, I think I got down like 1,600.
That's pretty low. When did you do the highest one?
Right now.
Oh, okay. And
Fucking
and
ridiculous.
and do you find that you could fall asleep on like the drop of a dime?
I can fall asleep after every meal.
Yeah.
After
When
a
you
full 10 hours, it doesn't matter.
if you have to drive further than 20 minutes, you start fucking sleep driving.
Dude, I ate a
So
meal right
no.
before this, and I chugged a Monster to try to stay awake for this shit.
Bro, that day I went to Fit Nation. It took me like an hour and 40. I swear, I don't know like how the fuck I made it to the gym alive, bro. I was literally asleep the whole ride. I was literally driving like this, and I would wake up and then get back in the lane and go back down, get back in the lane. It was crazy. I was beat. But yeah, what was the question again? Oh, which one was harder?
The high. Honestly,
Okay.
I've never had to eat so much in my life to where it's weird. If I eat a certain amount, the weight goes up. But this time around, for some reason, my weight, I'll push a little bit of food and then I'll go on the scale and it doesn't move. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm miserable before bed. Just my stomach's distended. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck. So I get starved and I'll just drink a bunch of fucking water, but
You gotta
gagging, I was in the gym, we were hitting legs, and in between every single squat that I did, I was dry heaving. And Paul's just looking at me, you okay? I'm like,
You got to get on that fentanyl like Stu.
yeah, for real. That's right.
You know one thing I realized, that workout we did, I think that was the first time. It sounds funny, but I think that's the first time I trained with anybody that lifted more weight than me. I don't think
I was telling Paul, I was like, I didn't know I was stronger than Beatty.
I was like, because you put 4 and then you put 4 in a 10, and I was like, what the fuck? About the fucking shoulder press the 4 and a 15. That 4 was heavy as hell, bro. I'm like, fuck it. That shit came down so fast on me. I was like, what the fuck am I doing, bro? Why am I trying to do it? Because usually, I would usually stop at 3 1/4. I'm like, yeah, this feels good. I don't. Maybe I've been there for a couple of times, but that's not routine. I don't know, but that's pretty impressive. And no elbow sleeves. It's funny because you put on the wrist wraps, right? But my wrist was killing me because for some reason I didn't put on any. If you're gonna hit it like a weight you don't hit, you probably should put some wrist wraps on. My fucking wrist is killing me now, bro.
Yeah, no, my wrist can only handle about a 3 1/4. After that, I'm bound to fuck something up.
It'll fuck you up. But yeah, these guys not playing around, man. They training hard over there at Fit Nation. All right, who I go next? Let's go Zayd.
The most I
highest and
pushed
lowest.
food, I think was 4,200 calories per day, and the lowest was 900, maybe 1,000 calories.
Holy shit!
Yeah, bro. I needed to suffer to make that fucking weight class.
You think?
And,
yeah.
Just fish and asparagus. That's it, and egg whites. That's it.
Yeah.
And stevia packets, because I told you when I went crazy, I would eat stevia. That's it.
So
I wouldn't count stevia as calories, but all I ate was fish, egg whites, and asparagus.
Do I even have to ask which one was harder?
Definitely eating more. Eating more
shit.
than I should. Definitely. I can be hungry all day, no problem. I know how to suffer, but eating, when I would literally have to hold my mouth down not to fucking throw up.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
so it's harder for me to eat than to suffer, because I can deal with hunger. I can occupy my mind. He said something about water. That's very smart. Yeah, I drink a bunch of fluids. But man, sometimes that 6th, 7th meal at 1 a.m. is really what makes a champion, bro. Seriously. If somebody wanted to ask me what does it take to get a pro card or to be a good champion, is to learn how to eat those last meals of your day at 6 ounces and with 400 grams of rice and shit like that, right before you sleep, after you ate all day long. It's like 6th or 7th meal. That's the hardest part about bodybuilding, right there.
Everybody thinks they're hardcore until you hear shit like this, and you're like, "Damn,
it's easy to actually hear it, and it's easy to see it. It's easy to do it for 1 or 2 days. But if these guys did this shit for a week, they would be like, I don't want no part of that.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, it's like somebody could do like a 7,000 calorie challenge, but to do that and then wake up the next day, do it again, wake up the next day, do it again.
Yeah.
Listen, you ain't doing that. You ain't doing that.
That's why I get so like, I almost get offended. Oh, I don't almost. I get pissed when I hear average people be like, well, if I took steroids. No. You're just going to look like a fat ass is what you're going to look like. You're going to look exactly the same as you are with 20 more pounds of water. You're not going to do anything else. Like, because they don't hear, the average person don't hear about these type of conversations, like where you're starving to the point where like you could literally gnaw your hand off, or you're so full to the point you just don't ever want to see food again. They neglect the fact that like those are the factors, in my opinion, that really separate the winners from the losers in the sport.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a couple of times where I've posted on my polls on Instagram, asking people, would you rather eat or would you rather bulk? What do you prefer? You know, and a lot of people put bulk. And so I let people answer whatever. At the end of that, I respond back to them. The motherfuckers that are putting bulk have never ate to bulk. You know what I mean? Like
you never really.
Look, I was.
Those are people that probably are not professional bodybuilders that know what a true off season looks like.
I was one of those guys that said bulk until this time around. I never had a hard time putting on weight. This is the first time my body's like, nope, and then I'd have to eat a little more. I've never had a hard time until this time around.
Joe never understood what I was going through when I tell him I'm gagging with every bite, taking 45 minutes to eat my meals because I don't want to eat. Like I'm so fucking full. You never understood that until now.
Yeah.
Now that you're going through it, like fuck.
Because hunger is a mental game, right? You could always not eat, but to sit there and force, it's not even mental anymore. At some point, it's physical because you're like, my body is almost rejecting this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a whole different ballgame.
The other day I was burping in the gym and my girl's like, Joe, don't burp all loud like that. I'm like, look, if I don't fucking burp, I'm going to throw up. Like, those are throw up burps.
Yeah, it's going to come out. Let's go, Stu.
Oh, probably similar to Joe for like the highest I've gotten, about 7,000. But the way that Blue has set up my food is like I basically have no added fats in that setup. This was like a year or two ago. At this point, my food hasn't gone that high since then. But like, my carbs are up at like 1,200. Protein was probably like 500. I bet fats were probably like 40 to 60. Nothing added. It was just from protein sources. So, and that really sucked. The good thing about doing that your whole off season is like when you have to diet, you're not hungry until like 4 or 5 weeks out, and then it gets kind of crappy. But I definitely prefer prepping any day of the week over that shit, man. I've never had an appetite. I don't think I ever will at this rate. Like I just need to. I have to force it down, so that's what I've been doing for years. It works, but
do you ever have cheat meals to try to get in extra calories? Or
no, if I go out to eat, like it's gonna be for like a nicer meal, right? I'm not gonna try and get extra calories doing that because like I'm already stuffed from 5 meals. You're gonna put it in a 6th one. I have to force feed tasty food. Like I don't. That feels weird. I don't want to do that. Because I'm still gonna have to wash all that food down with water, even if I'm eating like a pizza. There's just no fun way to do it.
All right, let's go Compton. What's the highest?
Hey guys, I gotta get out of here. By the way,
get out of here then. Go.
All right, fine, whatever.
Later, Stu.
Talk to you
guys. Later, bro.
I'll catch you, man.
Talk to you soon.
All right, Compton.
Yeah, so I think the lowest I ever got was somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200, and I know people are like, "What the fuck?" This is when I won my first overall ever, and I by no means I'm actually going to applaud the guy rather than hate on the guy, but I was with Shelby, and he, I hired him like right in the middle of the prep, and he had to do what he had to do to get me in shape. And we got down to probably as low as, like I said, somewhere between 1,000 to 1,200. And And so I won the show, and obviously I was on fat burners too, and we'll talk about which one was worse here in a second. But my highest on a consistent basis was around 8,500, 8,800. That was fucking challenging. Like they both suck. I mean, it's two polar opposite ends of the spectrum there, but they both suck. If I had to pick which one sucks worse, I think the dieting at that level sucked worse. And the reason I say that is because I was in college. It was my last year at the time. I thought I was going to flunk out because I literally couldn't hold my shit together. Like I was at the point where I wasn't functioning. Like when I go to once I got some blood moving in the gym, I was good. Mentally, I had to make myself function. Like, I don't care how much coffee, how much stimulants, I don't give a shit how much anything you put in me. My brain was turned off. It was not going to work. Like, to get me off the couch, it was hard to get up, it felt like. Because I did that for about 4 or 5 weeks on really low calories like that. I mean, yeah, I got in shape. I wasn't the best. I don't think I was the best I could have been. I don't think I was anywhere near the best I could have been. But again, I'm not mad at Shelby for that because first time working with me, we started mid-prep. It is what it is. We won the show. Mission accomplished. We've passed that. I just think that was harder for me because in the off season, I've always been a higher appetite guy, but eventually when the hunger's gone and you still got 3, 4 more meals to go down for the day, I'm able to do it. Was it comfortable? No, it sucked. I hated it. But I would rather force feed is to be on that 1,000 to 1,200 deficit. Now, dieting is fine. Like, I have no problem. Like, on a normal contest prep, keyword normal prep, like, I would say like when I did the Orlando Pro, easy. Yeah, I was lean. I mean, it sucked. I was a little tired. I would say the lowest I went was probably 2,800 to 3,000 calories on a low day. And that was easy for me. I was hungry. I thought about food and I tortured myself because I watched the Food Network. I sat down and watched videos. I'm looking at all this shit online. Like I'm literally just pure torture to myself. So as I got older, I realized like, don't look at it. Don't think about it. Talk about something else. Do something else. Keep your mind distracted away from food, and dieting is actually easy. So, I mean, if I had to pick, I'd rather diet for a show. But since we're talking about the extremism here, I'd rather have the freaky high calories as to have the poverty calories over here on this end.
Yeah. I feel like it's more uncomfortable for me to force feed, but I still prefer it just because I can't function. Like you said, I can't function.
Yeah, it's that mental clarity. You can't do nothing.
I think that's my only gripe. So it's not like I can be hungry and maybe it not be uncomfortable as much as it is to force food, but I got to go to work, and shit like this that I can't really work or train clients, or even my coaching suffers. Not my athlete's performance, but my communication is horrible. I'll get back late. I'll be super short, shit like that. So it's even relationships, whether it's like family, friends, girlfriends, that kind of takes a hit. So that I still would prefer the off season just because the rest of my life doesn't take a hit. But I think force feeding is more uncomfortable. Granted that I don't have to eat as much as any of you guys probably, because I gain weight pretty quick. It's still uncomfortable. It's still a lot of food, but I don't think I've ever had to eat like 7,000-8,000 calories. I've done it, but I don't think I need to.
This is where it's all, everything can be relative. Like, a lot of people see, you remember Juan Morel, obviously, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Juan was notorious for his Sunday fun day, cheat days and stuff like that. That's kind of, I think that probably made Juan more famous than actually winning shows. So people would see that and they would say like, oh, well, that must be nice. He preps easy. Well, this is my thoughts on it. And I feel like everybody here is going to agree. When your body fat gets to a certain level, it doesn't really matter if you're eating 1,500 calories or 3,000 or 4,000 calories. you are going to constantly be hungry. You're at an extreme low level of body fat that you're not supposed to be at. So you're going to continually feel that hunger pain, whether you're eating like Juan or whether you're eating like, you know, an 80-pound, you know, kid. Doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like the hunger is equal, regardless of the calories. I think the same for the off season. So even though you don't eat as high of calories as, like, say, like I did or Joe did or Paul did or what Zayd's doing, you're still force feeding. So you still get to feel that feeling of force feeding, and it sucks. It doesn't matter. Like, it's like not being hungry and having to eat 3,000 calories still sucks if you're not hungry for it. Like, the last thing I ever wanted to do was eat whenever I didn't want to eat. I mean, it fucking sucks. So I think that's just a relative term that a lot of people, you know, it's like the guys that are in the off season, like Joe's probably thinking, man, I wish I could grow on 5,000 calories. Well, that guy that's eating those 5,000 calories is probably just as full as you are. And it's like when people are in prep, you know, they see Juan, they're like, oh, well, it must be nice to do all this and eat all that food, have 2-3 cups of rice on your meals. It's like, yeah, he's eating more food than you, but he's not getting satisfied from any of that. So the same hunger pain, I think, is there regardless.
Exactly. I feel like this question is like, would you rather burn to death or freeze to death? You know, it's like, it's
going back on my response. I'm talking about my current life situation, right? So, like, if you were to diet me right now, the same, like on those low calories, I think I'd still rather do that. But if I'd eat as much as I did right now and do what I had to do for the California when I did that prep, I'd rather do this. Like, that when I prepped for the California, like, life was happening. My job that I did at the time was extremely laborious. I was doing 75 minutes of cardio, like, and I could only do it post workout. And I was only getting like 30 grams of carbs on most days. So it's like, or on certain days, like, the amount of it was weird. It wasn't painful, but it felt like pain every single day with the stress of the job. And like I said, like, my life at the time, like, I had that stress in the back of my mind. That was the hardest prep of my whole life. So if you ask me, would I rather do that again or this? I'd rather do this. But it depends on my life situation. Because that prep had me in tears 4 weeks out. Like, driving to the gym, I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do this.
Is this when you blasted Christmas music?
Be physical.
Yeah, bro, that was the same prep. That was so fucking blows.
Yeah. The circumstances of prep is what makes it bad, because your mood is different, right? You're irritable, you're tired, you know, so it's not necessarily just the eating part. The eating part is usually not the hardest part. Is everything else that entails from being so low on calories and being so lean that everything kind of falls apart. You're like fragile emotionally, the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what makes prep so hard. But actually eating the food might be harder just by the food standards, but everything else is just harder when you're in a prep, you know, and you can't fuck up, you know. It's one thing to maybe off season, you miss a meal, so then you have like Chipotle chicken and rice instead of, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna fuck up your off season doing that once or twice, you know, during the week. But in prep, there's no room for that. So everything has to be always perfect all the time, and you know, so I think that's what makes prep difficult. You know what I'm saying? More than anything. But gentlemen, I gotta use the bathroom. I'm going hypo. And I gotta do like 30 minutes of
butter or what?
Yeah, exactly. I might have to do like an hour of editing for this video. So I gotta get to work. But gentlemen, thanks for being on. I appreciate you guys. And
all right, man. We'll talk soon.